rise to take note of the Productivity Commission's report, A Path to Universal Early Childhood Education.
Thank you, Senator Henderson.
And care, and that's, of course, been tabled in the Parliament and publicly released today. The Coalition is currently making its way through the Productivity Commission's final report, which includes more than 56 recommendations and almost 1,000 pages of information, data and findings, and a response will be provided in due course. We note the report highlights achievements in the sector made under the previous coalition government, including increasing early childhood education and care places by 50%, increasing the number of 4-year-olds enrolled in ECEC to 90%, and increasing women's workforce participation. I do note with concern the Albanese government has sat on this report for weeks, and while releasing it today, it has taken no position, despite it being sitting in the minister's drawer. And I guess in giving no indication as to the government's position, that's of no great surprise, because Minister Clare, as the overarching Minister for Education, has seen on his watch chaos in school funding. We have a school funding war underway in this country, courtesy of the Minister for Education. We have got the university sector in meltdown. And, of course, we have, despite the fact that the government has had this report for a number of weeks, we have no insight into where the government is going. But what we do know is that Labor continues to talk the big game on childcare, but the reality is there are families who continue to miss out, many childcare deserts across this country, and many other families which are paying higher costs. And that is because, despite the government's rhetoric, despite their memes and other slogans, the sloganeering from this government, in the last 12 months, out-of-pocket childcare costs have increased by 8.4%. And so Labor's so-called $4.7 billion cheaper, and I do that in inverted commas, childcare package hasn't delivered a single place for families without access to early learning, but it's also imposed greater costs, greater out-of-pocket costs on families. And when you think about what families are enduring at the moment, the cost of everything is going through the roof because of Labor's homegrown inflation, one of the highest of any advanced country in the world. It is no surprise that families have also been hit by increased out-of-pocket costs for childcare. As I say, no new places for regional Australians suffering from no new access. So it is an insult to parents that Labor continues to claim that families are better off under this government when so many families are struggling to make ends meet, including in relation to childcare. Education costs across the board have gone up 11%. Gas and electricity have gone through the roof. Food, fuel. People are dreading going to their mailbox or going to their inbox and opening their bills, because so many families can barely get food on the table, let alone dread as to how they are going to pay their bills. So I also want to raise that we have seen reports of centres increasing their fees by up to $30 a day. So despite the rhetoric from Labor, the so-called cheaper childcare, this promised subsidy has been substantially eaten up by higher fees since last July. And to families in regional, rural and remote Australia, I say once again, where is the Labor Party? Where is the Labor Party for all the families who are struggling to find one childcare place for one child? And of course, when you cannot find childcare, you cannot work. And families in regional Australia do not have the same options. So, as I say, the Labor government, despite promising so much and talking the big talk has delivered very little, and it's very regrettable that the government has so little to say despite this report.
Thank you, Senator Henderson.